Okay. Everybody, welcome aboard. For those who just loaded, please take note that you're at tram stop D, so that way you know when you're going to come back. Okay, the tram is now is all boarded and ready to move. Driver, you're clear.
Tommy's got one on the left. You got to make sure you tell them that you got cars on the left of them.
Everybody keeps their arms, legs, and all body parts inside of the tram as we move forward. There's no exiting at any time other than the locations that we announced for exiting. Any crosswalks or stop signs, we ask that you stay on board. We will let you know when it's safe to exit at our tram stop. I'll get the hang of it again. We're approaching C for all those that are going to be getting off here. It is safe to exit, and those coming on, it's safe to enter. Okay, after you're clear, driver, we're clear.
I say they don't understand. We don't come out there and hold your hand to get on the time. They gotta get on their own time.
Because they're not paying attention, huh?
We can't sit there all night either and wait for them to get on. They gotta get on now. You got to use your judgment. Just if you sit there, you can't sit there all night. You got to go. Maybe they'll figure it out next time you come around. You know. Okay, Mike, so you learned tonight the reason why when you're on the North Parkway, why you get in that turn lane to make your call. If you're coming in on the North Parkway,
right,
well, you gotta look down that bridge. He learned it tonight because the North Parkway just pulled right in front of us and didn't let us get in. And guess who it was? And you know, didn't I tell you all that?
Who was it?
Sandra.
Okay, everybody, we are now coming onto the island. We ask that you stay seated until given instructions to exit. For those that are waiting to board, we ask that you stand back as he's coming into the parking area. Watch your feet. We'll let you know when it's safe to enter.
I need to remember that the
safe to exit, safe to board.
Okay, hang your mic up, who can't? Hang your mic up, who can't? You got to walk.
We're ready to roll for everybody. We're now loaded and ready to move. Can everybody just stay seated? And we are clear.
Right, so one thing is, you don't have to get the train installed. go around and turn as quick as you can, get back here and do that. So you don't have to make sure that close. You get people that's in the tram stop. And you got somebody that's coming back with that wheel.
Mommy.
You're hollering, ho, ho, ho. No, you don't ho, you go.
That's what we're in. It's sorry.
You got people in the other tram stops standing there waiting. You can't be waiting. You got to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We are now moving back to the parking area. We will be announcing the areas that we're going to be stopping at. We ask that you keep all body parts inside the tram at all times. When we stop at any crosswalks or stop signs, we ask that you stay seated. Those are not exits. We will, again, let you know when we're at the different locations.
You're not in a hurry right now to start the drive.
Well, probably.
It's already on. Now, it was like, you gotta look at the clock, so they take it out. The best thing to do is just walk up there to your driver. What if they tell you to walk back to your driver and let them know? But it's not no big hurry to tell them now because it's already gone. It's 7 o'clock. It's been gone for about 12 minutes. We got folks where it's out of kind of made you walk.
Okay, this is location C. Anybody that's parked here? C West. Anybody parked here? It's time to exit.
You got two legs in the squirrel.
So you mean to tell me my car is scratched, peeling, squilling, shaking, pinging, slopping, whatever you just said? It's worth $8,500? Don't you mean 50?
Okay, driver, all clear?
You don't worry about that. That's it. He's the driver. You worried about people you're loading and unloading. You don't worry about who's in front of him. He does that.
Services in Knoxville. So say goodbye to those pesky rodents, squirrels, raccoons, or bats that may be reaching out for your home. Control of us today. 866. That's 866.
Driver, I'm clear if you are.
Visit callwins.com today. Just enter it. Check.
Okay, we're approaching our next stop, which is B West. B West. Okay, for anybody that's exiting here at B West, now's the time to exit. All those coming on board, you can also enter.
If you've got a vehicle this summer, make sure to stop by one of our 2 key locations for no obligation appraisal. Plus, a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified vehicles with special interest rates available. So come visit our free on the phone today. Kingston Heights or Carside Drive, or online at TenRussellFord.com.
Right there. Yeah, that's odd.
The life of a small business owner. You keep the lights on, call on the shop, and check on the boss. But don't be fooled by all that income. It's still about waking up to the work, interrupting your life with that thing that is your small business. And then there's
You must be nervous. Just certify how much so.
and they are.
Driver, all clear? Folks, we ask that you continue to keep all body parts inside the tram at all times.
While you're talking, you're looking around.
at an end, or if you're parked out here, this is where you would like to exit as soon as I let you know that we're clear. Okay, we can exit. Hey, nobody exiting? We're all clear, driver.
Alright, so try not to use that word clear. Say clear that driver. Get that out of your vocabulary and tell that driver, I'm clear. Don't use that word, don't use exit for exit. As soon as you say the word clear, that driver's leaving. That's what he's looking for.
Okay, we're approaching A East. This is for anybody that's going to be looking for Ware Valley Trout. It'll be back here in approximately about 40 minutes.
Maker Music's nightclub of the year. Just off I-40 and Level Road.
Okay,
And on
so
Sunday
driver,
night,
you got
Sunday night is
folks
knowledge
to work
night. So all the college students
You see him getting on?
Driver, we do have some Ware Valley.
always has the dance floor hopping. And free pitchers of beer while supply.
Okay, driver, all clear.
Yeah, Level Road.
Does the driver have to announce?
He's calling.
To see a few clouds.
He's calling where about it.
Low 41 degrees. That's just a be outdoor Monday. On the WVLT for Florida Weather Center out meteorologist Jacob Durham. 107.7
Okay, we are arriving B East. B East. Anybody parked over here? This is where you would like to exit. Okay, safe to exit. And you can go ahead and enter at this time.
We get out.
Folks getting out here?
Look at that purple bow. Boy, that's pretty.
Driver, all clear? For those who just boarded, we welcome you. All we ask is that everyone on board, please keep your arms, legs, and body parts inside our tram. We will be stopping at crosswalks and stop signs. We ask that you stay seated. We will let you know at the proper places to exit our tram. Okay, everybody, we're now approaching stop D. Stay seated until we're to a complete halt, please. Okay, it's safe to exit, and those coming on, safe to enter.
No, just time them. start timing. I get them timed. I got them people timed before we stop there.
Driver all clear? Welcome aboard, folks. We ask that you keep all your arms, legs, and body parts inside of our tram while we're moving. We ask that you stay seated even at our stop signs and our crosswalks. We will let you know when it's safe to exit at the locations directed.
All you got here is what you have to do is really just same day. We'll let you know it's same day.
Okay, now we are at Tram C, Coal Creek Apartments, and it's on the south route, she says. Driver clear. When we get to the last it's A West. There's a bridge right there, and you're going to walk down there, and you're going to walk up to Jig Thomas, and then that's where you're going to catch it right there. Okay? Yeah, I just trying to connect with you, and I'm just making sure I give you the right directions because this is only our second time out here, and I want to make sure I know where to get it. I'll let you know when we get out there. I don't know what I said when I got to D because there was nobody on the bus. And I said so they could do whatever they wanted. They were giving me a hard time about it because we're trying to figure out what we're saying.
Those two will, for sure.
I know it got empty and there's nobody, I didn't know what to do.
Hammer told me that it's North Parkway, not South Parkway. So can she get on South Parkway up here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got the south
she
of
just
Jake
walks
Thomas.
down to Jake Thomas from
That's the last stop before you reach that park.
right. You know what I'm talking about at Jake Thomas? Yeah.
Innovation you can't afford. Experience the full difference in our affording credit.
Second car, somebody pull that little child's leg in, please.
See, because isn't that down by the bridge there? Did you walk down to get out of the thing? That's what I thought they just told me.
Oh, you know what? Remember, you get on the south trolley by going through the LeConte Center. Remember that?
Right. Well, A West would be by the Wisconsin. Yeah, so that's where she wants to get off and walk down there to.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We are now at C West. C West. If anybody is parked in this area, this is where you want to exit, and you can exit now.
Go, 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 go.
We go all the way around. Yeah, if you're parked over on that side, you probably want over in there.
Then fine tune.
We really don't need to hear all the conversations. You can let your mic go when you talk.
What did he say? Is he making something? I can't copy what you just said, sir. Driver clear. What did he just say?
Yeah, he really doesn't want to hear all of your conversation. You can let the mic go.
Oh, okay, I get my
You are not saying anything.
If he has a way to harass me throughout the night, he does. Okay, we're now arriving to B West. B West. So as we come to a complete stop, I will let you know when it's safe to exit. Everybody parked here at B West, this would be where you want. You're safe to exit.
About the day, high temperatures still right around 68, but it will be breezy at times with winds gusting close to 30 miles per hour through the afternoon. From the WVLT for short weather, San meteorologist Jacob Durham. My girlfriend broke down.
Driver, you're safe. You're okay, Joe.
Yeah, you're on the trail.
Sorry.
Let go of the mic.
I do have it. Turn the whole on to the side.
I'm going to call everything, you know, that we thought it was. Okay, all right. Could be in there. I don't know.
Okay, now this will be okay, we're approaching A West. This is if you want to go over to the Hilton. We got a bridge here. And also if you're going to head up to Jake Thomas, this is where you want to exit.
It ain't no Hilton here. The Hilton's on the other side of the park lot.
Holiday Inn.
This is Holiday Inn Express.
Okay, we're all back here laughing. I'm sorry, Holiday Inn. Say hi, Hammer. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. You have a great night. Driver, you're clear.
It's the
Hey, Judy, who needed that South Parkway?
They want to go to Jake Thomas to grab South Parkway.
Who needed it?
The ones that, the lady that's up there walking that way.
Oh, okay. She's got plenty of time to get over there. They just left Margaritaville, so she's good.
Copy that. Have a good night. Okay, this would be A East. A East is also to Wares Valley if anybody needs the Wares Valley trolley.
Oh my God. You could totally just scale it.
You're clear, driver.
Miss Judy, look to your right on top of the hill like up there. That's Home 2 and True by the Hilton. That's on that side.
Okay, it was a mistake. I'm going to fess up. I called it the Hilton. It was the Holiday Inn for those who need to go all the way around again.
Miss Judy, you ever stayed in a Hilton?
Many times.
Have you ever stayed in a Holiday Inn?
Many times.
There ain't no comparison.
You got that? You got that right. Okay, now we're at B East. B East. If you're parked out here, this is where you want to exit, and you can exit now safely.
We just having fun.
Yeah, we are. We're back here laughing. Okay, you're all clear, driver. It's called laughing with me, not at me. You're back here. They try to get around in circles. They wonder why my hand's frozen over the You ever see when you take the automobile? Remember that dog that was frozen? Oh, it's a movie. There was a movie a long time ago. This dog rode on the backside of a truck, and when it stopped, he had ice cubes hanging from his feet. That's me. I would imagine.
portable heater back there.
Yeah, they got started out. Okay, now we're approaching the D tram stop, and we ask that you stay seated until we come to a complete and safe stop. And I will let you know when it's safe to exit. Okay, it's safe to exit, everybody. You all have a great time. Thank you. Have a great time. Be safe. Okay, driver, you're clear. You're getting off at the C? You want the C one? Okay, that's next.
We're the one closest to the bridge.
Okay, yeah, that's the next one.
Yeah, we just wanted to ride. We just wanted to
That's
ride.
okay, you can ride again if you want, if you're not too cold.
I'm okay. I'm not riding. You can ride again.
I think I lost all of my drivers.
It is a little cold.
Mike's back here.
Oh, she said you can stand.
Have a seat for a second.
On every subject you go.
I wonder if he realizes we got
Not straight that river in. Boy, those man-made. Okay, right here is where I'm talking about. You can get up to 45 mile an hour if you got a reach-in on. Get her up to 45 and then smack off of it. And you, it'll start reaching. If you drive slow, maybe you can get it done before you get back.
I've heard some of these regen, it seems like it takes them a while.
Yeah, it might take you 2 or 3 trips to do it. You have to do it every time you come out here. Seems like you know this right, Miss Judy.
I think so. Like I said, I knew it coming out, I just screwed up making that turn.
That first day,
Yeah.
you wanted to go out and wear it out.
I'm not doing a regen so slow.
That's old motor hung back there.
Now, when I get up here to this Claiborne, I don't pull in there, I just, unless there's people, or do I just stay on this road?
I couldn't catch where you said it.
Stay on this road till you come past, you're gonna be coming up on Advanced Auto on the
No,
left.
no, I know that, but I'm just saying, the first time we went by that Claiborne or whatever, we pulled in.
No, it's a stop past Playbook.
I know where I'm going.
I'll show you.
I know where I turn, I just didn't know if I had to pull in.
Just keep in mind, I gotta show Mike, so. Alright, when we get a lot of them J1s here, this next stop right here, you'll pick a lot of them up, because they'll work over here at McDonald's. So you'll need to frequently check this stop right here before you back.
High Valley.
landmark so you know where it's at. Then we'll return right here by Advance Auto tonight.
Okay.
We go right back where we came from. If you time yourself right, watch these trees. If you time yourself right, you should be going through the mall by 45 minutes after. If you're going through that mall by 45 after, then you're on time.
I think I just might make it.
And that's where you need to be when there's buses at the station that 10-8 for the sweet. You should be going through that mall, not in the station.
Well, our bus is over there.
They're going up for auction.
Well, the thing of it is the only thing that saved us some time too is we didn't go clear out to the campground.
Yeah, but see, these drivers don't do their job. They're not supposed to be coming in that station until those sweeps leave that station. And once everybody learns what their job is, she's going to send you back out. It's coming. You bring that trolley in there too early, she's going to take it back out. So they ain't going to need to rush yourself in there because you're going to wind up having to take it right back out anyway.
So what is it, like 5 minutes till the next one leaves that you need to be in there? Is that what you're saying? In other
When
words,
you hear the sweep says, North Parkways, leave the station for the sweep, then you can go in the station. But if you do what I tell you to do and be in that mall at 45 minutes after, you don't have to worry about it. You know they're already leaving. The time you go through that mall and out to the traffic light and back to the station, the buses will be long gone.
Situation, and it's vital for you to understand it. So I'm going to give you a few facts. Remember this. I've shared this before, but this is important to be reminded of. We don't have a studio or a network with billions of dollars at their disposal that they can share with us, and if they see that the show is starting to get successful, they can pour more into it, like what these media companies tend to do. And in order for our show to be free, and in order for Come and See, the nonprofit organization that helps contribute to the production and to the translation of the show, in order for them to translate it into hundreds of languages, and for us to market this show around the world, you have to be reminded that this costs tens of millions of dollars minimum every year. Even though our production costs and our marketing costs and all that are much lower than the vast majority of shows that you watch, it is very, very expensive to pay cast and crew, to raise our production values each year, to make sure that we are keeping up competitively with all the other shows and movies that are out there, not only for your sake, but for our team. And so movies and television shows and media is extraordinarily expensive. And so the fact that we don't have a big studio or network behind us to finance all that, you have to also remember that separate from production, separate from what we do each year just to make the show itself, we have a company, The Chosen. We have a company that has over 60 full-time employees, and that allows us to do our international efforts, our social media, our behind the scenes, our legal, our financial. We have a board. We have to be SEC compliant, as you hopefully know, because we are a public company. All of these things, just leaving aside the production, just to keep our company going, is extraordinarily expensive. And marketing, think about the fact that we have to promote this show and get eyeballs on it all over the world. That costs millions of dollars here and around the world. So with all of that, all of those things that you have to remember that we are responsible for, we're a free show. You have the opportunity to watch the show for free. Now, here are some sobering facts about the fact that we want to maintain being a free show, but also want to make sure that we have to spend and finance all of these extraordinary efforts that you're seeing both in production, marketing, translations, and our social media, and keeping this going and keeping these eyeballs growing all over the world. So here's a few sobering facts. Number one, we are one of the most watched shows in the world. That's actually the good part of it. That's not sobering. That's great. but fewer than 5% of the viewers pay for it or donate to the Come and See Foundation. Think about that. So less than 5% of people all over the world who watch this show contribute something financially towards the show. Now, that's actually in some ways good news. It's sobering, but it's actually in some ways good news because it means that there's so many people who are getting to watch the show for free, because some people wouldn't be able to watch it if it wasn't free. If you weren't donating to Come and See, if you weren't purchasing tickets to see it in theaters or purchasing gifts or any of the other ways that we somehow are able to generate income, if that wasn't taking place, then these people wouldn't be able to see it free. So it's both good news and sobering news at the same time. Here's another sobering fact. A movie released to theaters makes so much more in 1 month than we do. Not only in 1 month, but sometimes even in a year. Now, let me give you an example. Our former partner, Angel Studios, released Sound of Freedom. Remember that movie? And in the United States alone, it grossed in theaters over $180 million. This is information that you can find online. And total, internationally, when you add up everything, it was over $250 million in gross receipts. That's just in theaters alone. Now here's the sobering fact. That movie in theaters alone generated more gross in just a couple months than The Chosen has ever generated gross-wise in an entire year. And guess what? Here's what's even more sobering. With a movie, the money that comes in can be kept. With us, a show that's multiple seasons, we must keep spending money that is generated for the next season. As I talk to you right now, we have 3 more seasons left, along with all the translating and marketing and keeping our company going just for this show alone. Think about that. So we've done 4 seasons already, but there's 3 more to go. And all of the things that I mentioned to you previously, just now, about all the costs that we have, continue. We can't just take the receipts from a theatrical release or any kind of release and just go, wow, that was successful, that's a big profit, that's great. It has to keep going. So to be very clear, and this is very important, it is extremely expensive to be free. And without us getting creative, and without us figuring out ways to generate income so that we can be sustainable and profit and have a career, our previous path wasn't proving to be sustainable. And so we have to keep coming up with ways for this to be sustainable and for you to be able to see this show free. So, just talking about our recent theatrical release, in fact, right now you can still see some of the episodes in theaters. Bear in mind that just this alone, the theaters get a large chunk of the gross receipts, the distributor gets a large chunk of the gross receipts, and then when we get a chunk of the gross receipts, that's just a portion of the costs of our company alone. So when we hear from you sometimes, I've seen a couple of comments on social media, that, The Chosen is selling out, or they're doing it just for the money, this theatrical release, and they're delaying the streaming, they're delaying the free streaming because they're just trying to make as much money as they can. I wish we made enough money on the theatrical to justify that accusation. Now, of course, I'm being lighthearted, but you just need to understand the financial and logistical ramifications of how all this works. And theatrical, as fun as that has been and as successful it has been by a lot of objective measurements, it's just one way for us to try to be more sustainable and for us to be able to try to keep this show free and keep our company going. Now, what's happening right now is that we are sorting out all of the things that we can do to get this show to you as soon as possible for free. So here's the good news. I'm going to give you some of the good news now and what we're trying to do to make up for this situation, not only in the short term, but the long term. Now, for those of you who couldn't see it in theaters or who are overseas, now it is in theaters in some parts overseas, but there's a lot of you who just aren't able to see it in theaters, even if you wanted to. But I know many of you aren't able to see it even if you wanted to in theaters because either A, you're overseas, or B, you can't afford to, or you don't live close enough to the theater. Now, keep in mind, it's not coming as fast as we wanted to, the free streaming, but it is coming to the Chosen app. So, bear in mind, it will be coming to the Chosen app as soon as we can, and it will be free forever. So, I've seen many comments, in addition to what I just talked to you about, where it's saying things like, it's unfair. Those of us who can't watch it right now, that's unfair. And I hear you. And I know that it's frustrating, and I know that it feels disappointing. But hopefully you can now understand that it costs hundreds of millions of dollars for this show to be free, for all 7 seasons to be free forever. cost hundreds of millions of dollars. So if you do have to wait a little, which I'm not denying is frustrating, and it's frustrating for me, and it's frustrating for our team, but I hopefully think that you can realize it's a relatively small price to pay for the fact that you will eventually be able to see this free. Now, number two, we are working right now for season 4 to get you in the short term and for this to all be sustainable in the long term. Come and See, the nonprofit that is helping finance production and translations, is going to be bringing it to churches in the next week or so. So along the bottom of the screen, you can see it's comeandsee.net/church, comeandsee.net/church. This is going to actually start March 13th. So you can check out that website for all the details and for maybe even an opportunity for you to bring it to your church. But side note, one thing I want to mention, that Come and See is also doing the same thing in prisons. So in prisons all over the country, they're going to get a chance to see this earlier. So sometime, and I believe it's March 13th, but sometime during this month, there are going to be opportunities to be able to see The Chosen in churches. So that's one way that we are trying to get it out to you in any way that we can as soon as possible. Another thing is we are extending some of our theatrical opportunities, so keep checking your local listings and another website. I hope you're taking notes on some of this stuff, but along the bottom of the screen, thechosenriseup.com, that has details, so you can keep checking that, keep checking your local listings. We are working with the theaters to keep extending this opportunity to see season 4. And we will be bringing it to theaters sometime in the near future, hopefully before the end of the month. Again, we're working all this out right now, but we're bringing it to you at a discount. So I know some of you are like, well, great, you're going to extend in theaters. That doesn't help me much because I can't afford to. We're trying to get this to you as soon as we can. We're trying to get it to you as cheap as possible, and so we will be bringing it at some point to you at a discount, so you can have that opportunity to see it in theaters. Which I know that some of you missed, like episodes 1 through 3, and then you wanted to see 4 through 6, but you couldn't catch up on 1 through 3. So we will be offering that opportunity again. Keep checking local listings, and we will continue to give you those details. Now, when it does come to streaming, which again, I don't want to be too lighthearted about this, but it is soon. I know you hear that word in the show a lot. So it's going to be as soon as we possibly can. I promise to give you updates the moment we have them. We will be releasing it faster, at a faster pace than we've normally done it in the past. So for example, last year we did 1 live stream per week, releasing it once per week in the app. This time we're going to be doing it twice a week. So we'll be releasing it twice a week in the Chosen app. And of course, every time we do a release, we do a big live stream where you can watch it with us. And we have this global event where everyone gets to watch it, discuss it together, and see it at the same time. And so make sure, if you don't have the Chosen app, that you get that now. You just look up the Chosen, and it's easy to find, and you get that app. That's where you will be able to watch it free. You will be able to join us in our live streams. We'll also be doing our live streams on social media, but that'll be twice per week. We will be accelerating the release strategy and the release plans so that you can be seeing it quicker to try to make up for this delay. We will also be offering the entire season at once. If you want to do it that way, if you don't want to wait, if you just can't, like I just can't wait for that twice a week thing, on DVD, and there will be a paid streaming option. So if you're desperate to watch the whole thing at once, not wait at all, we will be providing you options to get the entire season at once. And so stay tuned for that. Finally, Come and See. You've heard this, you've hopefully heard of that wonderful foundation and organization in the past. Come and See is the nonprofit whose mission statement includes getting The Chosen to the entire world totally free and to have it translated in hundreds of languages. They've been doing that recently, they've been doing that currently, and they're going to continue to do that in the future. That will continue to be the case, and if you have donated to Come and See, thank you. They wanted to make sure that I pass that along. And once we get past these legal matters and can focus on keeping it free forever, you can continue to contribute to that. But I wanted to just, if nothing else, say thank you for the fact that we're even in the situation that we're in, which, yes, has some...
I'm sorry. Anybody that's parked in this area, you can now exit. Driver, all clear.
What?
Can I get off at the alley?
Yeah. You got to be back on here, when your brakes up.
Okay.
It's still 9 woods at 1:30.
What time did you get back on?
I got back on at about 3 after 7.
So you need to be back on at 3 minutes after 8. There's the shake. Oh, he should be coming back across. You already know that's where I ain't supposed to that cross several crosswalks. The main thing is keeping all body parts inside the tram cab for your safety. We'll let you know when it's safe. I do it right now. I forgot you had already done it.
I've done it, but it just I'm trying to find a way to keep it so it's slow.
Challenges, has some delays, but also has some good news as well. Ultimately, and in conclusion, yes, there is a delay, and this is no fun. We are as bothered and urgent as you are. No one wants to get this into your hands more than we do, and faster than we do. And yes, we do have to come up with ways to allow us to be more sustainable and to grow this show, so that sometimes the long term conflicts with the short term. But the good news does remain. Because of Come and See, we will continue to be the only show in the world, or at least one of the only shows in the world, I can't think of any others, to require no payment or subscription to watch. It will continue to spread around the world. It will continue to be marketed and translated so that people in every country can watch the show. And you can continue to be part of that. So remember, as always, as I always say at the end of these, it's not your job to feed the 5,000, but it is your and my job to provide the loaves and fish. What that means is, I'm wearing the shirt right now, 5 and 2, is that we do provide our 5 loaves and 2 fish. We don't always do it with an outcome in mind. But we do provide our loaves and fish, and if God chooses to multiply them and allow them to benefit the entire world, we want to be part of that. And whatever your loaves and fish are, whether it's buying tickets or gifts that allow our company to sustain itself and to continue to grow, or it's donating to Come and See so that production and translations and many of the marketing efforts can continue, or if it's just praying and spreading the word because you're unable to do those other things, or in our case, producing and marketing the show and getting it translated, and Come and See's case, getting all that done, and making the show along with my team. Thank you. Thank you for the loaves and fish that you've provided so far. And thank you for the loaves and fish that you'll continue to provide. We're doing this together, and I want to keep doing it with you. So in spite of some of the unfortunate news that I'm delivering, I hope that you will continue to be excited about the future of The Chosen, and we'll continue to give you updates. Thank you so much.
23, roger, make the right turn back towards the airport, police 1 departure ahead, Challenger jet, runway 23, clear line, 122.012, gust 16.
All right, Challenger jet departing, we're turning back towards the airport, and clear to land runway 23, opposite 823.
X-ray 574, runway 23, turn right heading 270, quick takeoff, traffic 3 miles, follow Challenger jet.
X-ray 574. Okay, Challenger, Hopper jet 823, lost both engines, emergency, making an emergency landing.
Davis, got the emergency, clear to land, runway 23, is that Hopper jet 823?
We're clear to land, but we're not going to make the runway, we've lost both engines.
Everybody stand by, there's an alert 3 in progress, everybody stand by.
Tower Shadow 5 rescue helicopter, request notification.
Shadow 5, proceed direct as requested.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. We are descending to 240 right now. We've had engine number 1 stall. It's losing power, and we are starting our descent to 240. We are working the situation now. Stand by for more information. We're waiting to land anywhere right immediately, so we're just figuring out the burn fuel. So that's our current situation right now, sir. Checklist says we need to land ASAP. American 1849.
American 1849, Minneapolis approach, runway 12 right. Do you have the gate number yet?
We're supposed to, they told us we're going to find it when we land, when we talk to ops.
Roger that.
682 is declaring emergency. 682 is declaring emergency. 682 is declaring emergency.
68 Zulu, Roger. You want to come in for runway 20?
Oh, if we get there. 682, we just lost our engine power. Something happened.
8 Zulu, Roger. Wind is 23010. You're clear to land any runway at Santa Fe, altimeter 3020. Can you give me some information?
Damn, 6 on south. I've got a big vibration going on. My top's going bad here, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm at 8,500. I don't think I can get to the runway.
Tell me how many souls on board and how much fuel.
One soul on board. We have like 50 gallons of fuel.
50 gallons of fuel, Roger. And make straight in for runway 2 if you can, but you can have any runway you want. Clear to land. We're 68 Zulu, and can you tell me what's going on now?
Try to land on the freeway here if I can. Landed. I'm landed. I'm landed. On the ground. I'm landed.
Watch what happens to this plane after receiving a low altitude alert.
Low altitude alert, low altitude alert. Are you able to climb at all?
No, negative.
Rose Express 810, Roger. Proceed direct to the airport and you are clear to land any runway. Rose Express 810, the trucks are rolling.
Can you let the Coast Guard know?
Rose Express 810, the Coast Guard is on their way. Rose Express 810, if you want to land it right, if you can get to the runway, any runway, you are clear to land.
Yes, sure. Mentally unstable and trying to get in the cockpit. Direct to field and priority land.
American 2392, clear direct to Philadelphia, descend and maintain 10,000. What level threat?
Level, right now, it's
Thank you.
They have him seated, but he's jumping up, yelling parachute, trying to get to the front of the aircraft.
This pilot remained calm after losing their engine.
Mayday, 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 we lost an engine, we need to turn around.
Delta 1929, Roger, clear to Atlanta Airport via turn right heading 070.
Alright, right turn 070, Delta 1929.
Delta 1929, do you guys have time to give us any information you business?
Let's see, we got 250 minutes, 6 fuel on board, and 89 souls. Delta 1929.
1929, thanks. And which engine did you lose?
Right engine.
Southwest aboard, FedEx is on the go.
Southwest 708, Roger. Maintain 3000, when you can turn left.
Turn to 030, 3000, FedEx.
Southwest 708, you can turn left. FedEx 1432, turn left, contact approach on the 125.32. We appreciate your professionalism. Thank you.
Yep, Tower Southwest 2399, we need to declare an emergency. Go over to the departure and head back to the runway.
2399, Roger, say altitude, maintain 3000.
Alright, we're trying to get to 3,000 right now. We're at 2,500. And we just lost number 1 engine.
1,500, block 3,500, and third west.
Yeah, so right now, Southwest 2399, just vectors back to ILS 23 right to land.
2399, Roger, turn right heading 320, maintain 3000.
Right, 320, 3000, Southwest 2399.
So 2399, do you need equipment standby?
Not an emergency? Negative. No, we have an engine failure, but not an emergency.
taught you a lot in terms of where to live in Knoxville, but today is going to be extra special. Why? Because we're going to kind of expand that Knoxville base. While technically not in Knoxville, today's Our Home Spotlight is going to be a place that you will surely love to live. And hey, if you're thinking of moving to the area, it is technically only 30 miles outside of Knoxville. So where are we going to feature today? It's the hometown of the famous Dolly Parton. Today, we're going to be in Sevierville, Tennessee. Okay, so don't be ashamed if you're the person that doesn't understand the difference between Sevierville, Gatlinburg, and Pigeon Forge. You'd be astounded at how many people that have been born and bred in Knoxville and surrounding areas don't know the difference. But don't worry, we've got you covered. So Sevierville is in Sevier County. Sevier County does extend to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, etc., and it has a population of 98,000 people. The city of Sevierville, the town of Sevierville, is only 17,000 in population. So it really is a very small, tight-knit community. And it is located, again, 30 miles east of Knoxville. You are at the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and wait until you see everything that this little town has to offer. It definitely packs a big punch. We can't talk about Sevierville without bringing up a little trash talk. I mean it, literally. Did you know that they have one of the top 5 trash programs in the nation? So this is what happens. 98,000 people live in Sevier County, right? All of their trash is amassed into this massive facility. And we're talking state-of-the-art. People have literally toured it from all over the world. This state-of-the-art facility actually is put into action so that it can maintain the beautiful area surrounding. So get this. All of the waste is put into these large digesters. The digesters break down all of the organic compound, and now that organic compound is able to be used to create really high quality topsoil. The inorganic material is then sorted and recycled. It's a fantastic program, and it's one of the things that you're going to love about living here. Because, hey, if you live in Sevierville, this program is available to you for free. They're just going to take off your trash and make something beautiful with it. That is a win for sure. Okay, so here's the thing about Sevierville. There are a lot of amenities to living here, and even more in the area that just surrounds it, right? So when it comes to cost of living, let me tell you, this is not going to be the lowest cost of living. The price per square foot in Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg is definitely going to be higher than it would be in a place like Knoxville. But you can still find homes that are going to be around $150 per square foot to $200 a square foot, which I think is in the affordable range, right? However, if you're talking about investment properties, cabins, lakefront properties, that sort of thing, obviously the price is going to increase exponentially. So a lot of people actually utilize this area for investment reasons, right? You could have this fantastic summer home that you enjoy, and the rest of the time you can actually rent that out and generate some income for yourselves. That is one of the main pulls to people wanting to purchase in this area, of course. Now you're saying, wait a minute, Abby, are people really going to rent my property all throughout the year? Well, I'm glad you asked. The average annual temperature in Sevierville is going to be around 58 degrees. So yes, in January it can get down to 26, but in July it's only going to get up to 89. So it really is a very temperate climate throughout the year. And honestly, tourism, all the attractions, everything else, people enjoy it 365 days a year. So in Sevierville and the surrounding areas, there is a lot to do. It's no wonder that it's one of the top vacation destinations in all of the nation. So here's what we're talking about. Outdoor activities, right? Anything from hiking, camping, mountain biking, climbing, etc. You've got any kind of water activity from whitewater rafting to water parks. Obviously like kayaking, canoeing, paddleboarding, etc. Then you have the excitement of up high, right? treetop canopies. Think about zip lining through those. There are countless zip lines. There's incredible suspended bridges. There are incredible resorts that feature massive water parks and recreational places. And of course, Dollywood, one of the best theme parks in the nation. Not only is it beautiful, but it's extraordinarily fun, and the food is out of this world. So all of this recreation is in your backyard when you're living in Sevierville. And of course, people love that in terms of an investment property or in terms of living here all throughout the year. You can enjoy all of those amenities every single day if you're a native here. So obviously, if you've got children and you're planning to move to Sevierville, you know that they're going to have plenty to do, but you want to know about the schools. Of course, there are 20 plus schools that serve K through 12 in Sevier County. So there's tons of schools. There's even 4 specialty schools. And one of the things you're really going to love is they are really big in their athletics programs. So if you want your kids to be active, that is going to give them the opportunity to do so. We haven't even talked about the greatest amenity of all, shopping. The shopping here is insane. So Tanger Outlets features 120 plus name brand stores, which offers all of the outlet shopping you could ever hope for. But beyond that, you do have your traditional box stores. And then my personal favorite, there are flea markets, antique stores, and all of those kind of interesting artsy shops everywhere. Not to mention specialty shops, right? So there are stores that specialize in Christmas, for instance. So if that's what you love 365 days a year, or how about knives, or how about cast iron cookware, right? I mean, there are specialty shops everywhere here. So there really is something for everybody. You will absolutely love to shop in the area. One of the things you're really going to love about living in Sevierville is this super charming downtown area. So it has been experiencing a revitalization, both of businesses and even the aesthetics. So the city of Sevierville has actually widened the sidewalk, so you'll be able to enjoy it in terms of strolling. Oh, and did you know there's a municipal airport nearby? Yes, there is. If you hear airplanes, that's why. Gatlinburg Municipal Airport is here. But of course, you're also about a 30-minute drive away from McGee Tyson Airport as well. So, in terms of history, Sevierville has it. It is steeped in rich history. And one of the ways that you'll see that commemorated is in the tracks that run down the center of the road in downtown Sevierville. So these tracks actually commemorate the railroad that used to run through here. Isn't that awesome? Now, of course, we can't talk about Sevierville history without talking about the one and only legendary Dolly Parton. She is from here, and her commemoration takes place in this beautiful statue downtown. So the Dolly Parton statue was sculpted by a local artist. His name's Jim Gray, and it was unveiled in 1987. It's 6.5 feet tall, and it's made of bronze. And of course, it depicts the gorgeous Dolly Parton, whose hometown is Sevierville. It draws thousands of visitors every year, and Dolly herself said that the statue holds a special place in her heart, not only because it was an honor that was bestowed by her community, but also because it made her daddy so proud. She is the sweetest woman, and it's no wonder everybody loves her so. Another piece of art downtown you're going to want to check out in Sevierville is called Wings of Wonder. It's the giant wings, and I'm sure you'll see them all over Instagram because let's face it, this is a whole moment. This was actually the first mural that was made for the downtown district, and it was done in May of 2020. So this is a huge painting. It's 16 feet high and 26 feet wide. So it depicts this large monarch butterfly, and it transforms into all these smaller butterflies. You can find it in the downtown Sevierville area, and of course, it is so Instagrammable. You'll definitely want to check it out when you're here in Sevierville. So as you're walking around downtown Sevierville, you're really going to appreciate the incredible history, like the courthouse and all of the old buildings. It's beautiful. There's a lot of rich history steeped in this area. Of course, you'll stop by and see the artwork, like the Dolly Parton statue, but you're probably going to work up an appetite, right? Well, where do the locals eat? Frank Allen's Grill is going to be that dive place that all the locals go to, and you're sure to enjoy it. But there's also Hickory Cabin Barbecue and Holston's, which is one of my personal favorites. You should definitely check out their orange sponge cake. It is divine. So there's a lot of really great local eateries here. But of course, if you love the big box stores and love the big chain restaurants, you're going to have that available as an option as well. So just to recap, you have that great sense of community, small town feel, fantastic schools, shops and restaurants galore, literally anything you could ever want for in your backyard to do. I mean, so many great reasons to live in Sevierville, right? And let's say you're thinking of relocating, or maybe you want an investment property. I've got you covered. While I'm not a licensed agent, I do know a whole team of incredible agents, and some of them even specialize in the Sevierville area. So definitely give us a call. Our home of eXp Realty, it's 865-500-HOME. One of our dedicated agents is sure to help you find your dream home or investment property. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to hit
Hey guys, Trevor here. I wanted to hop on here and make this video really quick. I want to make it known right off the bat that the point of this video is not to criticize, degrade, or push down the pilot in this video. I have nothing but respect for the individual who was flying in this video, and again, I'm only making this for educational purposes. I hope the pilot is recovering well. I hope he is okay. I don't think he has posted about the injuries he sustained or if he even sustained any injuries in the first place. I only want to make this video as an educational video to help clear the air as to exactly what happened in this flight. So let's first watch the crash and then I'm going to break it down. Alright guys, let's break down this video. The first thing that I want to point out is the conditions. We notice that the sun is down near the horizon. That is indicating that it is in the evening time. We don't have a lot of clouds off in the horizon, and the pilot is doing a forward inflation, what appears to be very light winds. So we have an evening flight, arguably very good conditions. The pilot even mentioned nil winds, no wind inflation. All around, the sky should be very nice. So we can immediately rule out the possibility of rotor, wind shear, and thermals, as well as potential gust fronts, meaning that this pilot did not encounter any fluke, weird, strange, predicted, or unpredictable turbulence in the sky. We watched the pilot do an inflation, appears to be a very sluggish inflation in the sense that it was very, very light winds. He also was running very fast and needed a lot of brake to help him get off the ground. Upon lifting up, you can see he pulled quite a bit of brake, ballooning into the sky. Now, I only want to mention that for one reason. When you pull brake, when you pull both brakes like that, when you burn energy with the wing, the energy needs to be put back in the glider. So this pilot took off and pulled both of those brakes, initiating a steeper climb out on his takeoff. Well, that's okay as long as you let the wing regain energy and take a breath, which he did. You can see the wing leveled back out and then would begin to climb straight had he not turned. But it took that breath and it regained the energy that it had burned. The reason that I'm pointing that out is because that's energy management. You use the energy, you let the wing regain the energy, and then you use the energy again, which is going to be something important that we'll talk about here in just a second. So the pilot begins a right turn, which he let the wing regain that energy, and I want to point a couple things out about this right turn. You can see the pilot lost a little bit of altitude and was at full throttle. The reason that those two things are important is because, number one, full throttle. Full throttle indicates that the glider will have just built up quite a bit of energy in that turn. Number two, he lost altitude in the turn, meaning he dove down, which is going to build additional energy. Now, here he is in this turn, has a bunch of additional energy, and there's a few things he can do with it. He can burn that energy upward, he can continue the turn around until it slowly bleeds off, or he can snap it around to the other side. What the pilot ultimately chose to do, if we continue watching, was to burn the energy upward, which is an okay thing to do. There's two main ways of burning energy. The first one is exiting upward. The second one is turning slowly until it bleeds off. Exiting upward is okay. In fact, it's a totally fine way of burning energy in which he just built. However, your glider right here where he is in a compromised state. Meaning this glider is not full of energy, or we could say it's not full of air. Right now this glider is sitting at, and this is not the exact amount, but it's sitting somewhere around the 50%, hypothetically, full of air spot. We just burned off a lot of that energy going upward. That glider now needs to redive, just like it did off takeoff, only more now. It needs to redive to regain energy, which then the pilot can use. And oftentimes pilots use, quote unquote, this energy by applying brake, which initiates a turn. Well, In this situation, the pilot right here applies very heavy brake. Now, if you apply very heavy brake when the wing is very light on energy, it's light on air, what happens, and ultimately what did happen, if we keep watching, is that the pilot then spins the glider. Right here where I have the frame paused, the glider is now entering into a spin. A spin is a negative maneuver, meaning that the glider is no longer flying, it is stalled. And a spin happens because you pull so much brake that you kind of, in some way, we could describe it this way, suck the air and energy out of the glider. He pulled so much of that left brake in a compromised moment where that wing is light on energy to where he spun the left half of the glider and the right half also followed suit. So now he has a stalled glider. If we continue to watch, we can see this wing enter a stall configuration, which is where it's falling down backwards and in a way parachutally coming straight down. Now, the pilot's not very high. He's maybe 50 feet off the ground. I wish the ground was in sight in this moment and I had been there to see, but I would say he's around 50 feet off the ground. He is now in a stall, an unintentional stall. He has to process what's going on and make a decision as to what to do. In this situation, I would argue majority of pilots, including myself, would be so overwhelmed that they would probably perform and do the wrong thing. The pilot, in this case, continued to apply very heavy brake, which kept the glider stalled. I actually think that that was the best thing he could have done, other than maybe throwing a reserve, but there's a few possible options. Let's talk through them. In this situation, a stall. The way of recovering from a stall is to ease your hands up and let the glider regain the air that it does not have, regain the energy, shoot forward, and swing underneath it, filling back full of air. Well, in order for that process to happen, the pilot needs to get their hands up, and more importantly, the glider and the pilot need altitude to do so. At 50 feet, there's a possibility that when it reopened, it dove the pilot straight down into the ground. That is potentially, and would have been, a far worse situation for this pilot. The pilot would be diving straight down and would have slammed in feet, leg, butt, back first. That would have been very unpleasant. The likelihood of an injury, or even worse, is very high in that situation. Well, the pilot had another option, which is going for his reserve parachute, assuming he's flying with one. The risk with going for the reserve parachute in this situation is that you're going to release one of the two brake toggles, which is going to initiate an even harder spin where one half of the glider, probably the right side, is going to try and fly, spinning you, possibly twisting you up in the lines, or regaining energy and putting you in a dive while you reach for that reserve, which could have been even worse than the final outcome, which is what he ended up doing. That could have been worse. He's high enough off the ground, or around 50 feet, where the chances of that reserve being effective is very slim. Now, a reserve can deploy and be effective somewhere between 50 and 100 feet, but it ultimately depends on how fast you are falling. If you are coming down in a straight down spiral, the likelihood of it opening between 50 and 100 feet is greater because your speed is greater. You are spinning much faster. There's more air to fill up that parachute faster. You're also eating altitude, or burning or losing altitude faster, but the likelihood of it opening is greater. He's coming down in a stall, which is not a very fast descent rate, as you'll see, or saw. It's not a very fast descent rate. It's fast enough to break equipment and possibly injure you, but it's not fast enough that the reserve is going to have enough time to open at 50 feet. So in my eyes, trying to recover from the stall in this situation or trying to throw a reserve, both could have been far worse than what happened, because both could have put him in a straight down dive towards the ground, which is a very unsafe way to hit the ground. It's a very unsafe angle of attack to make contact with the ground. The third option and final option, and what the pilot ended up doing, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I would argue unintentionally, just based off how his hands were moving, is keeping the glider stalled. The optimal thing would have been to put the glider in backfly, which is a stalled, very stable configuration that a pilot has to have some SIV experience to know how to get the wing into, but that would be the slowest descent rate in this situation. The second would have just been keeping the glider stalled, which is what he did, where he just descends in a stall and comes down onto the ground. Now, the benefit of coming down in a stall over the prior two things is, number one, your descent rate is a lot slower, and number two, you're actually coming down at an angle where the frame and cage is going to take some of the impact. We hear this term in paramotoring called crumple zone. Ultimately, crumple zone is there on every single paramotor. It's there on every single paragliding harness. It's different. It's not crumple zone. Oftentimes it's an airbag or a foam insert, but it's something underneath the pilot. Crumple zone, in the sense of paramotoring, is the frame and cage below you. No paramotor designs this frame and cage to be there with the intention of absorbing impact, but because of how paramotors have to be designed, they ultimately are a thing. When you come down in a stall and you're coming down slightly backwards and more straight down and backwards, the cage is going to hit the ground first, which is what happened with this pilot. And that is somewhat going to dampen the impact of the crash. I would argue some paramotors are going to do a better job than other paramotors are going to do. No paramotor is going to do a great job, but there is something to make contact with the ground in this case. And those two things are going to lead to the best outcome, which ultimately happened with this pilot. If we keep watching, he's coming down. You can see his hands are very heavy here. We keep going. He makes impact with the frame first and him kind of on the back. There's no good way to come down in this situation. There's no great way to hit the ground. But if you're going to hit the ground, hitting the ground, moving diagonally to the ground, I would argue